Hello, CCAP section 4796 of US 102 history class. So, all right. As many of you are noticing, I made my last announcement saying must watch. Actually, they all must be watched. That is the requirement of this class to watch announcements. And only half the class responded saying that they watched the announcement. Um, So I'm not going to elaborate much on that, but just to say that it shows that my announcements are not being watched and the instructions that I'm trying to give to help out to get everybody to succeed is not necessarily happening. Some of you are doing well and didn't respond, and maybe there was other reason. Maybe you watched it and you forgot to respond. But I am trying to make sure everybody's on board and to be able to help you all out. So I mentioned that I might be giving an exam if I didn't have the majority of the class respond. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to put that off for a moment. Here's what I want to do to help out. So look, I'm going to repeat a few things that I said in there, but then I'm not going to go too much further because we got to move on from having this discussion about the essays, right? So first of all, as many of you are seeing, most of you are on the right track. There's just little things that I'm trying to get you to understand. And so, one thing that I noticed that was happening a lot, and it might be difficult to actually see depending on the program you're using. I think Google Docs, some of them are making it more difficult to see if you really have a full page or not. So, these are supposed to be at least close to a full page. I'm not even saying that they have to be an entirely full page, but the essay, it needs to come closer to a full page. So even some of you who are getting the citations down, you might have noticed that I said, please make it closer to a full page, or some are doing like a half page. That's not going to get you full points. And so I just want you to know that. So that's one thing that I just want to make sure everybody is aware. Try to get at least a full page for that. And then I just want to remind all of you, I have in previous announcements examples of essays that you can look at to get an idea of where the citations are supposed to be. So this is the last time I'll just kind of repeat this, but I'm hoping this will maybe even be a little bit clearer. So you write your first paragraph. First paragraph. If you just write an introduction of your own thoughts and you're introducing somebody and you're not putting any information that came from a source that you read or a video you watched, it doesn't require any citations. But once you start delivering information where you only have that knowledge because of a source that you learned this information from somewhere else, then the somewhere else needs to follow what you just wrote in a citation. And in this case, I require in parentheses, where did you get it from? And if it's not a video and it's not just a article, if it has a chapter or a page number that we can pin down, that's got to be there as well. And most of the time, that should be in your own words. That's what a paraphrase is. You just simply take the information, you put it down, and that's what I should see. Then, if you have a direct quote, of course, it's more obvious that that's what you would have a cite. You would have it cited there as well. Sorry, you might be hearing a little dog that's breathing very heavily in this video. Um, so, anyhow, um, so what? Going from that, if you have that down, you're going to be doing great. I do like to technically you are required to have some dates also in there of like time periods covered, but usually if you're covering the information as you're like supposed to when you're paraphrasing, most of the times I will see some dates in there. But please also remember, a history paper without dates is not a history paper. It's not located anywhere historically. You want that to happen too. So when I'm grading a paper or an essay, right, the first thing I do is I look for those citations and see if the essay is cited and the citations are in the place they need to be. And if they're not, they're going to get a 0, or you're going to have reduced points if you're putting in references, but you're not citing them the way I asked you to. And then I look for dates, ideally, and then I read it. And most of the time, I'm seeing a lot of you are writing essays that are looking great. It just needs to have that documentation. So that's it. So let's just move on from that. That's what I see. So now, I didn't require an essay to be written this week to give you guys a little bit of a break. If you have any grade that you don't feel comfortable with and you wanted to get more points, you feel like you understand this better, I will let you take any of those essays that you don't have full points on, or if you have a 0 on, and just resend them to me done properly. But make sure you've actually looked at the examples and you feel like you have an idea of what you need to do to fix it. And so if you needed to add a little more content, or you just simply needed to add the citations, like whatever you need, please just do that, and then I'll give you full points for it if you turn it in by Sunday. That means any of the other essays. Now, I haven't been able to grade every essay yet. I tried to get on top of all of them quicker, but I had to respond to a lot of essays and try to explain a lot more. And so as everybody's more on the same page of what we need to do, I also can grade faster and give you feedback quicker. And so we can get this all down together. Okay. But having said that, last thing I'll just say is just a quick summary of where we were at. We've covered workers' rights and the struggle, kind of class war situations that have happened historically in the United States. We're moving into the United States and imperialism. Now, the last video I have on the Marshall Islands doesn't necessarily fit into the time frame that we have. That comes later. But I kind of really wanted you to see that there's this trajectory of U.S. foreign policy that most Americans don't think of. And in a sense, really, if we look to our current presidents talking about wanting to make Canada the 51st state, talking about taking Greenland, whether the people of Greenland or Denmark want that to be done or not. That is only oddly placed in the fact that Denmark, who has official political control of Greenland, the Danes, I don't know if you saw, there was a lot of Danish war veterans that were protesting at the U.S. Embassy because they feel insulted that they've actually been one of the main European allies to fight with the United States in Afghanistan and other places and supporting U.S. foreign policy. But this is really an interesting case where the United States is taking an ally that's supposed to be kind of seen as like more or less on the same league and kind of threatening to do what we did to smaller, politically, militarily weaker nations that weren't in that same status that we had. And so it's something to reflect on, and it's a history that's important to understand about America, and a controversial one at that, especially by how people feel on the outside. And so I think the information speaks for itself. We can talk more about it. Sorry, again, there's some groans of a little poor dog that would like a little more attention right now. I tried to make this video outside and it was freezing here in Portland, Oregon, so I just came in immediately. But anyways, all right, so I hope this all clarifies everything and sums everything up, and we will be in touch. Yep.